48 hours post-mortem, NC State loses to Virginia Tech 23-21. I suppose we have more to talk about.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Our Monday show is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can sign up today, bet just $5, and if that $5 bet wins, you'll get $300 back in bonus bets guaranteed. That's FanDuel.com in order to get started. Happy Monday to all. As always, I'm Grayson Boone, joined by former Wolfpack defensive tackle Kenton Gibbs. In fact, it's not really a happy Monday. NC State loses 23-21 to Virginia Tech at home in Carter Finley, a night game in Carter Finley. I still, here on Monday, have no idea what I watched with my two eyes on Saturday night. Just an unbearably, painstakingly embarrassing loss in front of the Carter Finley faithful. Where do we go from here, Kenton? NC State is 3-2. Now you've lost two games that you really feel like you should have won. You got Campbell coming up this week. That feels like a free space, but everything just feels really empty at the moment.
You know, it's interesting that you use the words "no idea" there and saying, you know, that's how you felt here, because this reminds me of the lyrics to the Don Toliver song "No Idea." You know, it's within the song he says we're on a long road to self-destruction, and that's what that game felt like. It felt like a long road to self-destruction, honestly and truly. You ask where we go from here, we go forward. We go forward the best way we know how. You know, at the end of the day, this was a terrible loss. This is the type of loss that loses a fan base. This is the type of loss that loses the boosters, which, again, here's the thing. I promise y'all, I do not reveal my sources. I do not reveal who I've talked to on air. Sometimes Grayson doesn't even know who I get information from. Yeah. However, I can tell you with 100% certainty, there were multiple people who, like I said, they have the ear of the athletic director that have told me, hey, I'm done until something changes here. And the reality is, when I say we go forward, I say that to say I'm not going to give up on this team, but this changes the entire intent and tenor of your season. When I said over 8 or under 5, games like this were going to be deciders in that. You know why? Because a game like this was going to tell you where this team's head was at. And by this team, I mean everybody from the coaches down. I mean everybody from the coach. It starts at the head, and it goes down through the last walk-on. It goes down through the people in operations. It goes down through the field crew. But it starts with the head. And it's very clear that we are not – to me, to hear Justin Jolie say, hey, it's on me, and I should have caught that pass at the end of the game, we should have never been there.
Exactly.
We should have never been there. The only team to put up less than 24 points against this team, Wofford. Only other team to put up less than 24 against the Virginia Tech team. So at the end of the day, it shouldn't have been we relying on a 4th and 2 to keep the game going and give us a chance to win it. It seems to me Dave Doeren has mastered over the years winning games that feel like losses, and it seems like even that mojo has run out. So barring anything short of a miracle, I'm expecting this to be most likely Doeren's last year, but for the rest of the year, we go forward. We support this team. We support these guys. We do our best to retain all the talent that we can, but at the end of the day, we go forward. And let me say this, like I've said before about many of other situations, I hope that I am wrong in my belief that this is an under 5 team now. I really do. I hope I'm wrong, or 5 or under team. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope that I look up at the end of the year and Doeren has once again pulled off the miracle that, because we've all been here with Doeren before, where we're on the edge of that cliff and it's like, that's it. And then he just pulls 4 or 5 straight wins out of his behind. And you're like, where was this early in the season? I hope that we get that. I just don't think that we can have that, because I don't see the energy there. I don't see the passion there. And this is not a castigation of just Doran. This is not just him. This is something that I'm not seeing out of a majority of the people who are responsible for making decisions. I'm not seeing it. And it's translating on the field. I'm not seeing guys with a sense of urgency to do the little things right. Tackling is like rebounding in basketball. You have to get it done. The only difference is you need size to rebound well in basketball. Generally speaking, if you don't have size, you cannot rebound well. Size don't matter when it comes to tackling. And even if it did, we have the size to be good tacklers. We are not such a small, undersized team that's like, hey, what do you expect? That back is bigger than everybody touching them. So to me, this is a moment where all I can say is we go forward. This is a terrible loss. It leaves a terrible taste in my mouth. It leaves a terrible taste in Grace's mouth. It leaves a terrible taste in Wolfpack Nation's mouth. What can we do besides go forward? I've heard from the folks who got the loan money, who do all the supporting of the program, and you could try to gaslight me and say, if you heard them talking like that, they weren't all in to begin with, or they didn't give money to begin with. Again, I know otherwise, because these are the same people that when we were in the Murphy Center, we had to say thank you to them for their support of the program that I'm looking at after the game that are like, I'm done. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we're here, but that's where we are. It's unfortunate that we're seeing this, but at the end of the day, you cannot expect different from the fan base when they have given as much as they have given, and then the results are this. The results on the field are you're beating a team that's barely or you're losing to a team that's barely fielding a team. I could understand if we win this game on a last-second field goal and it's 24-23 and people are talking like this. I could understand, hearing, well, hey, a win is a win and all that. But no, you lost. You lost a game that you should never in a million lifetimes lose. But here we are. Here we are in that one world out of a million where we lose this, or however many out of a million where we lose this. So it is where it is. We go forward. We support these guys. We support this team. And what may very well be Coach Doran's very last game on the sidelines as head coach, going through that, which may be against the Dirty Foot Club, may be in a bowl game, but we go forward.
Kenton and myself, we have undying loyalty, and put a pin in that word loyalty because I'm going to circle back to it, to this football team. We have an undying amount of support for the players on this team. That goes for CJ Bailey, for Hollywood Smothers, the defense, even when they're struggling, the place kickers, even when they're struggling. Every single player on this team, we will support them no matter what. And that includes this coming Saturday against Campbell, even though I'm expecting it will probably be a light crowd. And I understand why. But I want to go back to what Kenton said about effort and rebounding in basketball. I think that's a perfect analogy. It's about effort. Tackling is about effort. And I didn't see enough effort on Saturday night. And I think that might be one of the most irritating things coming out of that loss. I was pissed on Saturday. I'm still pissed here on Monday because that's a game that you cannot lose. Under no circumstances can you lose that football game at home to that Virginia Tech team. And we've had a lot of Virginia Tech fans in our comments saying, well, this is not the same team. This is not Pry's team. They changed when Philip Montgomery took over. Are we talking about the same Philip Montgomery that was a head coach at Tulsa, but was 43-53 as a head coach there? You can't convince me that all of a sudden this guy's a magician and he had such a great resume that he's flipped this football team in Blacksburg, Virginia. That's not the case. Now, I think their locker room has rallied, and credit for them in doing so. They have all the reason in the world to mail in the rest of the season, but they didn't. And they wanted it more than NC State. But that's the problem. Virginia Tech, 1-3 Virginia Tech, who has already fired their coach, they wanted this game more than we did. How in year 13 is that the case? That's why I get pissed off about this. That can't happen. Year 13, how does that team want this game more than we do? Unacceptable. Yeah. So again, I'm still pissed about it here on Monday. There's so many things that went inexplicably wrong in this game, and most of them circle back to effort. You got out-efforted. That's not a word, but you get what I'm getting at, by Virginia Tech. And so you deserve that loss. You now deserve to be 3-2. And the metrics might say you should be 5-0. but metrics are not the overall record. The only thing that matters is you're 3-2. You lost 2 games that you probably should have won. Nobody, not one single person, should feel good about that. There is no silver lining. There is no moral victory. You let 2 games slip away, and now you got to figure out things that are still on fire. You got to put out fires, and you got to keep moving forward. That's hard to do in the middle of a season. And it comes back to preparation. It comes back from the top down. That means the coaching staff. What we've seen so far is not sufficient for a team that can possibly win 8+ games. A lot of people thought there was real chance they could win 8+ games. By all accounts, that seems like that's very far off the table. I guess we'll find out later on. But now, because you've reached essentially the breaking point of the season already, what does this team want to be remembered for in 2025? Where will they go now, being that the second half of their schedule, it looks like the Monstars because of how we've played so far against, let's be honest, lower level competition. Just an abysmal showing in front of the home. Like, I can't get over the fact that we've prided ourselves for so long, and night games in Carter Finley, it's a scary place to play. There should be no reason a team that fired their coach and they're bringing in an interim coach who, again, didn't light it up at Tulsa either, and that team wants it more than you do. That should never, ever, ever be the case. And I'm not coming at this from an angle like where I think NC State is Alabama of the ACC. That's not even close to true. We know that we have not accomplished virtually anything in terms, like, big picture in terms of ACC football. We haven't won an ACC championship since when? 1979? We know. We're not talking, we as a fan base are not talking from a point of we deserve championships. We've deserved to be respected. We should be ranked all the time. You got to earn that. But what's irritating for all of us is we feel like we have the talent to go earn it, but we're consistently being pulled back by something. We're consistently beating ourselves. We're making mistakes. We're losing games we shouldn't lose. We're barely winning games we should win by a lot more. That is infuriating. And I don't have to be the one to tell you that. We all can feel that. We felt it now for years on end. So good Lord. 23-21 loss to Virginia Tech at home. Coming up next, we're going to get into the review of Kenton's keys, both offense and defense. This comes after a quick word from our sponsors. Our first Monday sponsor is 5-Hour Energy. How fitting, right? Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold different flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love the most is how portable they are. There's big taste in a tiny shot. You can take it everywhere you want to go and get that boost whenever you need it. Enough with the boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to get your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in-store or online at www.5hourenergy.com or on Amazon today. Middle portion of our Monday show. Now time to get into the review of Kenton's keys from last week. Starting first with our 3 on offense, then we'll transition into the 3 on defense. So the first of the Kenton's keys on offense was to establish yourself early. We were looking to score at least 14 points there in the first quarter. Didn't score 14 actually until the third quarter. So got off to a slow start. Ultimately, that was one of many reasons that we ended up paying for it later on. Only scored 7 in the first quarter, missed on that one. Number 2 was to protect the ball, which would in fact protect the brand. We wanted to commit 1 or less turnovers in this game, and we accomplished that. Imagine a world where you have the offense that we do, or at least that we thought that we did, and you don't turn the ball over a single time, but you only score 21 points on this Virginia Tech team. So technically you accomplished that, but it feels extremely empty. So far, 1 for 2. And the third offensive key was to let the young dogs eat. You needed 150 plus yards from underclassmen, not named CJ Bailey or Hollywood Smothers. Cutting out CJ, cutting out Hollywood. If you combine the rushing yards of Will Wilson and Duke Scott, and you combine the receiving yards of Keenan Jackson, Terrell Anderson, Duke Scott, and Teddy Hoffman, all of that, you still don't get 150 total yards. It's only 127. Missed on that one. 1 of 3 on offense, Kenton. Your thoughts?
Grayson, you just named, what was that, 6 players?
5, yeah.
5 players. And we did not get over 150 yards. in all those 5 players. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. When Wofford can run the ball more effectively than you against a common opponent, you get what you get. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. 1 out of 3 offensive keys. And here's the thing, right? I told y'all at the end of the day, these keys are not created from nothingness. They're not created from nowhere. I knew that this was going to have to be a big game for the younger guys. I was expecting, because they play more, because it'd be a blowout. But I also knew the reality of this thing is, even if we had great games from CJ and Hollywood, there would have to be some other guys to kind of come along and make plays. It just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. So, 1 of 3 offensive, what a shock. What a surprise. Again, being the only offense, the first and only so far FBS offense to not put up 24 points at minimum against this team, you get what you get.
You do indeed get what you get. And furthering that point, only 59 rushing yards on the night. That was a shock, considering that Hollywood Smothers, we all have come to understand, is the best running back in the ACC conference. Thought the O-line played very poorly. Spike Souls actually got the start at right guard. He was the highest graded offensive lineman on the night, so shout out to Spike. But everyone else, where were you? We needed you. You saw what happens when the offensive line does not work as a cohesive unit. That means you can't get Hollywood Smothers going. And when you can't get Hollywood Smothers going, the offense sputters. This is what we're talking about in terms of margin for error. The offense has to carry this team this year. If you can't get that off of the ground, you're going to lose to teams that you shouldn't lose to. So extremely infuriating night on the offensive side of the ball. But wait, it gets worse. Let's talk some defense. We needed at least 2+ Virginia Tech turnovers. We created 0. Did not turn them over 1 single time. That's disappointing. 0 for 1. We wanted 0 drone strikes. We wanted to hold Kyron Drones under 265 total yards. We did actually accomplish this one. He had 177 through the air, just 14 on the ground. All things considered, I think we did a pretty good job of containing him on the ground, because at times he can get extremely dangerous. However, he was able to make very timely plays, mostly through the air, extending a drive, extending a play, and that gave VT the boost that they really needed. So 1 for 2 there. The last defensive and special teams key was for special teams to just be routine. We wanted no returns past the 50, no missed field goals, no 4th down penalties, no fakes or onside kicks. I believe we did allow a return past the 50-yard line, so you missed on this one as well. Just 1 of 3 on defense, 2 of 6 now overall. Kenton, go ahead.
This loss, I can come up with words for anything. I can bloviate. You could ask me about the weather, and I could probably talk to you about 10 minutes if you let me.
Yeah.
This loss leaves me so speechless. It's hard to quantify, because what do we even say? And I look at Coach Dorn's quote about, because they had so many players in flux, you didn't know who to game plan for. I just want to ask, because that 4th down conversion, that was 4th and 1, and we handed the ball off to Hollywood and their linebacker. Again, exact same play that Duke ran against us, basically, except their linebacker sees the hole developing and says, oh, let me go bring the funk. And he gets in the B gap and makes a tackle at the line of scrimmage for loss and ends that drive. What player could have possibly been in the game that doesn't teach your offensive lineman to climb to the 2nd level after dealing with the 1st? What scouting report says, oh, this guy is self-check, we don't need to block him at any point in time? Well, maybe there's something I don't know, because I've seen a lot of scouting reports. Fun fact, at my high school, we had scouting reports when I played. They said, hey, this is the guy that he does this well. He carries high hands. He carries low hands. This guy is a mauler. He's a finesse guy. We learned that in high school, or I learned that in high school, about who does what, how. I've never seen one. And in college, we say, oh, yeah, this guy's going to be an accountant. Some of those dudes we played in high school, they couldn't even play dead in the high school play. Okay, so they sure as hell didn't know anything about playing some football, and yet there was a write-up on them. He's shorter, he's unathletic, he's slower, he's da-da-da, whatever. What could have happened that we said, oh, when we run inside zone, we're not going to climb to the second level? That is one of the fundamental tenets of a zone scheme is, hey, nobody has a man. You've got a gap because it's zone, which means everybody has a zone to block, and you let the running back pick a hole. So it's thoroughly disappointing. It's mystifying how we come up with a loss like this. And people are talking about, is this a bottom three? Is this this is the worst. This is the worst. If there is a worse loss than this, explain it to me. Explain it to me. And I guarantee you, there is not only a case, I can present you with empirical data that this is by far the worst. Double-digit favorites at home against a team that fired their coach. We've never had anything that bad. Even when you look at the Boston College game a couple years ago that broke our streak of home winning streak, and it was senior night. At least the game plan was get the ball to Zay Flowers. Anybody want to know what Zay Flowers is doing now? He's wide receiver number 1 for the Baltimore damn Ravens. Who on this football team, who on this Virginia Tech team are we going to say that's a number 1 guy in the NFL? Where? You tell me. And again, at least Boston College had their head coach. They had their head man. Even if he was going to bolt at the end of the season, at least he wasn't fired. We could not stop them from driving up and down the field as they please. We could not get a drive of ours going. And I remember talking to somebody, the guy that I was sitting next to, again, was a Virginia Tech outlet at the game. And he said, I wouldn't punt it here because that's playing not to lose. And I said, oh, don't worry. Based on what the offense has shown, it makes a lot of sense for him to punt it. The only thing working against you is Dave is the master of winning games that feel like a loss. That's the only thing that I could say is something to be worried about here. But other than that, the offense ain't pissed to drop all day. And when it came time to do so in the clutch, what happened? 4th and 1, phenomenal running back. And yet we got to go to all these gimmicks. We got to bring out the true freshman quarterback that's 230 instead of simply saying our big guys are bigger and angrier than yours, and they're going to move your big angry guys in a way they don't want to be. So, again, the 2 of 6 in the keys, not surprising. We go forward. We go forward.
Someone else from another team saying playing not to lose is so funny because it's like, brother, we got a PhD in that. We are well-versed. We were born in playing not to lose. Don't let us tell you about that. But no, just 2 of 6 of the keys. It does not come as a surprise. This is why we've harped so much on starting fast, taking control of the ball, and noticing your margin for error. It's very small in 2025. If the offense does not take control of these games, this is what happens. You put too much reliance on a defense that has shown us time and time again, they simply cannot be consistent enough to get it done. 229 rushing yards for this Virginia Tech team that has struggled to run the ball against anyone so far this year. It is unfathomable how poorly our defense looked on Saturday night. And again, it goes back to effort. We've even seen quite often that we have a guy in the correct spot. Like there's been times where there haven't been guys in the correct spot, but even in the instances where we have it lined up correctly, when you can't complete a tackle in the hole, it snowballs so quickly. You get Terrion Stewart going 85 yards down the sideline, blowing the game open. All it takes is the littlest crack, and it snowballs from there. You end up with a loss, 23-21 at home. Good Lord, absolutely brutal. Coming up next, we're going to leave you with our big picture takeaways from this loss. This comes after a quick word from our sponsors. Our second Monday sponsor is Quo, formerly known as Open Phone. One of the tools that helps make a huge difference in business owners is Quo. It's the same great business phone system that you've already heard me talk about before, just with a new name. And here's why it matters. Every missed call is money left on the table. When every customer conversation counts, you need a phone system that keeps you connected 24/7. Quo is the #1 business phone system that streamlines customer communications. It works right through an app on your phone or computer, so no more carrying 2 phones or relying on a landline. See why over 90,000 businesses trust Quo, formerly known as Open Phone. Get started for free and get 20% off of your first 6 months at quo.com/lockedoncollege. That's QUO, quo.com/lockedoncollege. That's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked On College. And if you've got existing numbers with another service, Quo will port them in at no extra charge. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. And our third Monday sponsor is FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you simply do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if that $5 bet wins, you'll get $300 back in bonus bets guaranteed. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if that thing hits, you'll unlock $300 to use across the app in bonus bets. It makes watching football that much more exciting when you've got a little bit something extra on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or you love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So, what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. FanDuel, play your game. Last couple minutes of our Monday show. Now time to get into our big picture takeaways. 23-21 home loss to Virginia Tech. Kenton, I'll let you kick us off.
Well, it's interesting that we're doing takeaways. Apparently somebody in Wolfpack Nation has to, because this is
Somebody got to do it.
This is the second game straight that we have played a team that has had at least one giveaway in every other game that they played until they played us. Second game straight. Duke turned the ball over against Elon. Virginia Tech turned the ball over against Wofford. These are facts. This is just facts. Two FCS teams playing the exact same teams that we did something that we can't do. So my biggest takeaway is get a damn takeaway. That's my biggest takeaway. Take the ball away from the opponent. At some point in time, somebody's got to make a play. Somebody's got to make a play. And this is why I see Justin Jolie get up there and get on that podium and say it's on me. And I just look and say, ain't no way in the world. Because I'm sorry, buddy, this is college. Nobody's playing two ways anymore. It's about 4 guys in the country doing that. And with all due respect to Justin Jolie, I'm sure he could if need be, if coached up in that way. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. This is, again, I've called for this defense. Just be opportunistic, please. That's it. That's all I want. Just be opportunistic. If you're not going to do the little things, at least take a risk and come up with a big play here and there. At least do that. But we're missing the basics, and we're not coming up with those splash plays defensively where it's like, we did struggle defensively, but at least we had those 2 to 3 takeaways. There were some moments defensively, but I'm not making this up. Y'all can go look at the stats if you want to. Both Wofford and Elon forced turnovers against the teams that we could not take the ball away from. Both of those teams. That's just a fact. I am sorry. I'm deeply, deeply understanding of Coach Elliott's loss. I am not, so he's not involved in this. I'm not talking about him and what he's done in this moment. But if you're stepping up as the next coach in line, and if you're playing for your coach, why are we not able to get what we need done? Why are we not able to get what we need done? It's a disappointment. It's embarrassing. And to think that Wolfpack defense has fallen so far, so fast. I mean, dropped like a rock at this point. Because just a couple years ago, we could say to ourselves, we're going to trot out Lex Thomas against a future first rounder that is a starter in the NFL for the Patriots right now. And guess what our defense was going to do? Against a running back that's starting for the Chargers right now, had a 60-some yard touchdown. Right now, we could trot out Lex Thomas and say, we're going to win this ball game. And we did. And we did. And now, on the other hand, we can't stop offenses that Elon did a better job of taking the ball away from. that Wofford did a better job of taking the ball away from. We can't produce at the level of Elon in terms of getting turnovers. And I believe they scored just as many points against us as they did against Elon, if I'm not incorrect here. They or nearly as many. So we are not performing at the level of FCS defenses in many regards. And that's my big picture takeaway from this thing. I'm disappointed. And even offensively, we're not performing to the level of FCS offenses because, again, Wofford outrushed us against these guys compared to what we did. So, that's my big picture takeaway.
My first one connects to something I've already said, and that is about the effort part, because there is just simply no way that Virginia Tech team can come in to your home field into Carter Finley and display more heart than you, display more effort than you, display a greater will to win than the Wolfpack in that scenario. That is unacceptable. And that does start from the head coach all the way down. That's unacceptable. In year 2 or year 13, it's unacceptable. You cannot be outworked by a team that's already quit twice already in this young 2025 season. I don't care who their interim coach is. I don't care what his resume is. I don't care how their locker room has rallied the troops. That can't be more than what you got under the hood in your home environment. That's unacceptable. My second part is about that loyalty. And I heard Coach Doran talk about it on Monday. And I believe what he was trying to say was don't give up on this team because we put our head down, we go back to work, and that's what we do. But what he kind of said was like questioning to a certain extent the loyalty of like the NC State fan base. What are we doing there? What are we doing there? If there's a single, for those that are not watching, Kenton just disgustedly removed his headset from his head. That's how bad of a statement that is. If there's a single, like one singular fan base in this country that their loyalty cannot be questioned, I'd be inclined to believe it is the NC State Wolfpack. We have shown up year after year, sold out game after game. We are there no matter what. Rain, sleet, in a hurricane to see Notre Dame. We are going to show up no matter what. The loyalty of our fan base being questioned is banana land. And again, it goes right back. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. You can't come back, not just from a loss like that, but then kind of poking and prodding the fan base after doing so. Can't have it. So where I want to kind of angle that now, the loyalty toward the team, toward CJ Bailey, the offense, the defense, the guys that are suiting up and putting it on the line for the red and white for NC State, we will not give up on them. And we're excited to still watch them and watch them grow, watch them develop week after week. We still got at least seven games left on the schedule. We're going to be there. We're going to talk about it. And we want to see them not give up. We want to see them continue the fight. But what we saw on Saturday night, it's unacceptable. Any other circumstances, regardless, it's unacceptable. And so this team, well, what do you want to do now? Where do you want to take the rest of the season now? That's up to them. The leadership in that locker room, we're going to see what they do with it. Any other words, Kenton? All right. Well,
y'all know me. Yeah, y'all know I'm quick to point out a cultural rod, and that's a symbol of it. And I hope, because I haven't heard the quote, I hope that Grayson is misquoting Coach D. I hope that we are off brand by a mile. I hope that we're missing the target by a mile. But again, if I was to hop in these here DMs on this here phone and show, again, these are not people that I cannot say I have seen them around and have been instructed by the same guy that's now questioning the film. And again, I'm gonna give grace here because I didn't hear it, so I'm not going. But the same people who I know for a fact, instead of saying let me get a third boat, instead of saying let me put this money away for whatever reason, it's a hard time, the economy's rough, let me put this money away. The same people who, instead of doing that, have given to this program are saying, and you question their loyalty, or I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of it, man. At some point, And here's the deal. I'm sure at some point in time, Doran said, "This is on me. I've got to have the guys ready. I've got to have the guys ready." I'm sure he did. I'm sure he said that. I am tired of hearing about anybody else, period. I don't want to hear anything about, oh, the fans got to come back after halftime. Oh, don't give up on this thing. Oh, give them a product to not give up on.
Correct.
This is not, and this is with all due respect, because Lord knows I beg those fans to show up because they got a darn good team over there. In Durham, I say all the time, Duke fans need to show up for that team. That's a really good team these days. And this is Duke football we're talking about. We don't know when they're going to be this good for this long again. We do not know. So those fans need to show up in droves like we have never seen before. I talk all the time about their game. They're undefeated with a win over Clemson, and Notre Dame's undefeated coming to town, and that stadium had multiple hundreds to thousands of seats open. And their capacity at Wallace Wade is much smaller than that of the Carter. And do you think that if we're undefeated with a win against Clemson and we're playing an undefeated top 15 team, is there a world that you think the Carter wouldn't be packed and rocking? If you give this fan base, I can understand other coaches. I can understand if Diaz said, please, 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 Blue Devil Nation, I need y'all to show up. I need y'all to show up. This fan base here, what more can you ask for, dog? What more can you ask for? People are giving their all. People are giving their all emotionally, financially. People are giving their all. And the results are over a decade of not making it to a conference championship. Even if we're talking about before the NIL days and all that, even if we're talking about before, the spending got into it, we've seen Wake Forest go. We've seen the Dirty Foot Club go. We've seen Duke go. We've seen everybody else in the triangle go. We've seen every other ACC school in the state of North Carolina except NC State has played in an ACC championship game. We've seen everybody else do it. We've been the meme of Squidward watching SpongeBob and Patrick outside playing. We've been that exact meme, and we're still questioning people who are still showing up and giving despite that. And again, you can't tell me that school in Winston-Salem is outspending you. You can't tell me Virginia Tech with half a team is outspending you. They're going through lawsuits right now over whether or not guys get to keep their money even though they're redshirting. You can't tell me that team is outspending you. So, again, I'm sick of hearing about the fans and what they are doing and what they aren't doing. And again, I'm going to give the grace of I didn't hear the quote, so I'm going to assume that my co-host is being intellectually dishonest here. But I don't want to hear no more about the fans, no more about the support, no more about do this, do that from anybody from Coach D or anybody else, from Coach Roper or Coach Elliott or any of these coaches. I don't want to hear nothing other than we will put a better product on the field. We will put a better product on the field. We will be better. I don't care if that stadium is empty. It's not. You're between the lines, buddy. Your guys are the ones out there making those plays. It's your job to get them ready to play. It's your job to get them up to make plays, even if nobody showed up. But instead, you get the Carter filled with 50,000, and we have to watch that. And it's on the Yeah.
No, I paraphrased just a little bit, but that was the sentiment. He talked about loyalty and about not giving up. This is not a fan base that you can do that with right now. So that'll do it for us here on Monday. Extremely frustrating thing to try and work through. We're going to work through it because that's what we do as Wolfpack fans. 23-21 loss. They got Campbell coming up this week. We got plenty more to talk about over the course of this week, but thank you all for showing up yet again here on Monday. Be sure to hit that like button, drop your comments in the comment box, mash that subscribe button if you have not already. We'll catch you right back here tomorrow on Tuesday for more, and until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.